Hey, I'm Luke Williams, and today we're gonna be going over a few tips and techniques for squirrel hunting. You know, so you can add more squirrels to your squirrel dumpling. All right, if you're just getting into squirrel hunting, then the first thing you need to think about is what kind of rifle you're using. And that is gonna be dependent upon the rules and regulations in the state that you're hunting. However, today we're gonna look at 3 different types of firearms that are 3 different calibers. The first one is gonna be the 410. Now, I love this 410, it's light, it's actually a youth model, but it's easy to carry through the woods. It is a break action, and so that means that, you know, to reload, you've gotta break the action, get you a new shell in. However, it's gonna be a nice, good, accurate gun. It's easy to use, easy to shoot, and easy to carry, and that's important. The next one we're gonna look at is the 22. Now, I love a 22. Everybody loves a 22. It's what most kids start shooting on. This is a semi-automatic 22, and what's great about it is if you end up in a place where you're gonna have a lot of squirrels, like if you're in a feeding area or anything like that, then you wanna be able to get more than 1 kill in one sitting, and this is gonna allow that to happen a lot easier because you don't have to break the action to reload, or you don't have to have a bolt action to reload. And so this right here really eases the process, and the 22 is gonna scare away a lot less squirrels than the 410 because it's a lot quieter. All right, the third and final option we're gonna look at is the 17 HMR. Now, this rifle is one of my favorite squirrel hunting rifles, even though it's a little bit heavier. It's actually made for competition, so the nature of the build's a little heavier, and then as well, having a scope on top is obviously adding weight, so if you're trekking through the woods, it's a little more difficult. However, the accuracy on this gun is unprecedented, and I love that. The one thing I don't love is that it is a bolt action. Bolt actions are great in certain circumstances. However, when you can take 5, 10, 20 squirrels a day, depending on where you're at, having a semi-automatic rifle really gives you an edge as opposed to a bolt action. So at the end of the day, when you look at rifles, you just have to choose what's gonna be best for you and what you think your scenarios or circumstances are gonna be. If you're gonna be killing single squirrels that you're gonna see a distance, then having a bolt action and something that can shoot a little bit longer range is a good option. But if you're gonna be in a feeding area where you have a lot of squirrels, then a semi-automatic may be where you wanna go. Or if your state says you can only shoot with a shotgun, then, you know, 410 may be your option. And now that you have the right firearm picked out, let's talk about the techniques. And the first one is the waiting game. And it's exactly as it sounds. Find a tree, sit down, wait. And I have a lot of friends that this technique works very well for, and they harvest a ton of squirrels. However, it's not for me. I like to move and be a little more active. But if you are somebody that's patient and can sit still and that doesn't mind just waiting, sometimes all day long, then this right here may be your best technique you can use. Now for this, you wanna make sure that you pick the right firearm, because if you don't wanna do a lot of moving around from place to place, then having a rimfire is really a necessity in this kind of situation, because you're gonna be less likely to scare away the squirrels for a long period of time as compared to a shotgun. The other thing to think about with this is you wanna make sure you're sitting by a food source. Now, if you have lots of food sources around you, you're likely not gonna see lots of squirrels. You're gonna see single squirrels here and there. Whereas if you can find a place where there's not a whole lot of food sources except for what's right around you, you're gonna be way more likely to see a lot more squirrels packed into that area. The second technique, which is my favorite, is still hunting, but it's also, in my opinion, one of the more challenging ways to hunt a squirrel. For this, you're gonna walk through the woods and use everything you've ever learned as a hunter or how to be stealthy while doing it. You wanna make sure that you can walk through the woods quietly, using all the cover that you can possibly use, looking up to the canopy, and you're gonna be looking for squirrels all around you without attracting any attention. Now, it's very tough because likely squirrels are gonna see you before you see them. So the challenge is to flip that around and see them before they see you. Now for this, you're probably gonna have to be using a rimfire rifle because you're more than likely gonna be taking longer shots than what you're gonna be comfortable taking with a shotgun. And so for me, this is where the 17 HMR plays in great. The other thing you have to think about here is getting set up for a shot. If you're just gonna shoulder on a long shot and you feel comfortable, that's great, but otherwise you need to figure out how to use what's around you to get set up for the shot without spooking the squirrel. The third option we're gonna talk about is steady walking. And for this, you're probably gonna need a shotgun such as the 410, as it's gonna be a lot more difficult with a rimfire rifle. For this, you're just gonna walk through the woods. And the idea is to be a non-threatening human being so that the squirrels don't wanna run away from you. And so when you're walking through, as the squirrels are jumping around you, you wanna be able to pull up quickly and shoot. And so that's why it's a lot more difficult with a rimfire. With a shotgun, you have a little bit more, room for error. And so you want to be able to pull up, make that shot, and then grab your squirrel, and you're going to keep walking through the woods as a non-threatening human being. So don't be threatening. Make the squirrels think that you love them, and then put them in your stew. All right, all you avid squirrel hunters, drop any tips, tricks, or techniques down in the comments below for any new squirrel hunters we have, and then make sure you head to Raider Red's YouTube channel and hit subscribe. From the farm, I'm Luke Williams.